In this episode, we're going to review the column and translate commands. These two commands are great for manipulating text. So as an example, we're going to look at converting log data into an easily read format. Let's start off by looking at some example log data. So I recently ran into a situation where I quickly wanted to review monitoring data. The data was in a similar format, but the values were separated or delimited by spaces. So it would be nice if these lined up into tables with columns, because as you can see over here, it's hard to tell how these values line up. Well, it turns out that we can use the column command for just this task. So let's rerun the previous command, and we're going to pipe the output into the column command, and we'll use the -t option. With this simple command, it is now easy to see which of these columns and values relate to each other, whereas before it was not easy to tell how the values belong together in a column. To tell you the truth, I maybe use this command every 3 or 4 months, but when I run into a situation like this, it's nice to know that I can just convert the text. I think you will find something similar with most CLI Monday episodes, in that I want to highlight commands which you might not use all the time, but when you run into a particular problem, you'll have a sense of what can be done to fix it. I should also mention that you can do something similar to the column command by importing this data into a spreadsheet, but sometimes this isn't always practical. You can also check out the man page for the column command. I actually always use the -t option to align columns into a table. But you can also use the -s option to specify a delimiter. By default, it uses whitespace. This could be used on CSV data, key value configuration files, or something similar. The next command that I wanted to show you is the translate command, or tr. Let's start off by looking at the man page. The tr command gives us an easy way to translate text or delete characters from text. You can do all sorts of cool things like replacing text, deleting text, or smartly deleting sequences of characters. Let's look at some examples. Say that I wanted to convert all whitespace to commas. Sure, you could use a text editor or a programming language to do this, but let's look at using the tr command. So let's rerun our command from earlier and pipe that as input to the translate command. The first argument is the value we want to match against, so whitespace. And the second argument is what we want to replace it with, in our case, a comma. So when this type of problem appears, you know that, hey, I could probably use the tr command to manipulate this into a format that I want. I just wanted to show you one more example before we end this episode. Say you have some column data and you want to squeeze it down to a delimited format. Well, you can actually use the tr command for just this. Let's get some example data using the top command, then just grab the tail end of it by using the tail command. Say we wanted to use this as some input to a program or something, and it expects whitespace delimited input. Well, you can use the tr command to squeeze all recurring characters into a single instance. So let's try it out. And then we'll use our tr command with the -s option and specify whitespace. So we can use the tr command with the -s option to squeeze all repeating whitespace into a single whitespace occurrence. You will probably notice that this can all be done through a scripting language, but sometimes you'll find that these types of commands are useful in writing scripts, or that you quickly want to convert text without much overhead. So hopefully in the future when you find yourself up against this type of problem, you might think of turning to the column or translate commands to help you out. Alright, that concludes this episode. Thanks for watching. If you would like to get notified about future episodes, please subscribe to my mailing list. You can do this by going to the Get Notified link in the header and entering your email address. Have questions, comments, or concerns about this episode? What about episode ideas? I'd love to hear your feedback, either good or bad. Shoot me an email, justin@sysadmincasts.com.